Welcome back, everybody, to the We Don't Make the Rules College Football Show. It is a late night right now. We are filming this last second. We've been busy back home. But that's how dedicated we are to everybody. We are here tonight, and we're ready to go. We got a lot to talk about. Really, no, well, we just have the playoff games to review. So could be a bit of a shorter episode, but bear with us here. It is 10:15. So, and I have to wake up at 6:48, 6:45 a.m. tomorrow to go to Pasadena. So
Yeah. Uh, Not a very busy week other than the playoffs, so let's get into it.
let's do it. Just gonna get right to it. Miami versus Ohio State, the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic in Dallas, Texas. That game is tomorrow night, the only game on Wednesday night on New Year's Eve. Ohio State is a 9.5 point favorite. The over-under is set at 40.5. Interesting with a big favorite in a low scoring game. So we'll see how that goes. To me, I really see this game going kind of two ways. It's either the best game. It's going to be either the best game of the weekend or it's going to be a bloodbath. I think if Carson Beck can find like any sort of rhythm and get the ball to his playmakers, they got a chance. I think if Carson Beck plays like he has shown flashes of at times in his career, it could very well put Miami in the driver's seat in this game, depending on how Ohio State comes out and plays. Um, talent wise, I don't think this game is as lopsided as people believe it is. I think Miami is pretty good defensively, talent wise, and they can hold their own. I expect Miami's defense to kind of come to play in this game. So obviously that's why the line's kind of set at 40.5. Um, However, the only concern I have with that Miami defense is the inexperienced secondary. And I believe that if Ohio State's smart at all and they don't play timid, they should try to exploit that because they have the two best players on the field at wide receiver. So, um, yeah, that's the key for Ohio State, to be honest. But we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, I think the big thing with this one is what kind of version of Carson Beck are we going to see? We know with him the highs are really high and the lows are really lows. He goes out there and he's turning the ball over. I don't think this game's going to be close, but when Carson Beck is really good, he's really good. I think if he plays to the potential that he can play with it, Miami's going to be in this game. I think what you said is very accurate. I don't think there's a big talent discrepancy at all. I think these teams are very even talented. I think for Miami, the X factors are Malachi Tony and Mark Fletcher, right? If he can run the ball like he did against A&M, that opens the door a ton in the passing game for Beck. I know they didn't pass last week, but immediately when they got in that game, when they saw the way that game was going, they knew that it was going to be a Mark Fletcher game. So I think those two guys are going to be huge for Miami. And then, like you said, uh, obviously everybody knows Jeremiah Smith. So for the X factor I have for Ohio State is Carnell Tate. You know, Miami's going to do whatever they can to stop Jeremiah Smith, and then they'll put good matchups for Carnell Tate. So it's going to be interesting to see how they really cover them both because obviously we know Carnell Tate is very good. So I think that'll put Miami in a tough spot.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is going to be. I think if Ohio State wins and it goes the way I think it'll go, that's going to be the main thing. The main problem there is got to be able to cover the entire wide receiver room. I don't think they really have it. But the thing I will say is in the last two games that Ohio State's lost, they've come out and played to not lose. I know we talked about that a couple of weeks ago or whenever, or actually probably about a month ago, conference championship week, when they lost Indiana. But they played kind of not necessarily timid, but they played conservative. And I don't think that is the recipe for a win here, especially in this game when you're going up against a great defense. So they need to go play to win the game, not to not lose. So my keys for Miami, slow Ohio State down. Don't you can't give up big plays to the receivers here, and that's kind of what I expect to happen if Ohio State wins again. I think you got to have trust in your defense, which means maybe take some gambles in this game offensively. You get some fourth downs, on a iffy side of the field or whatever. Just take a gamble, maybe. I think that that's probably going to be your best chance because especially if the offense is kind of struggling, kind of like it did at A&M, you just need to find any sort of life. So I think that that'll be key for them. For Ohio State, again, I literally just I keep kind of echoing it. Just play your game. It's all about you and what you do. Don't beat yourselves. Air the ball out. Use your receivers. That's the biggest mismatch in the entire game. Is the Ohio State wide receiver room versus the Miami secondary. And then you got to keep staying protected. I know Bain and Mesidor are going to get after him, and you try to get after him. You gotta contain them because if they're after him all day, it might get ugly. So that's my keys for Ohio State.
Yeah, I'll add one quick thing here. With kind of the Ohio State game against Indiana, I feel like Indiana, they disguised themselves really well and kind of created confusion for San. So I think if Miami can do that in this one, they'll have a chance.
Yeah,
He's not, that was the first time he's really been on his heels all year. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people think, if that will lead right into the prediction. I think Ohio State wins this one, but they don't cover. I think they win 23 to 17.
that's exactly what I have. I have Ohio State to win and Miami to cover. I think that I think again, I think it's gonna be a lot closer. I think people have already ruled Miami out of this game. They're not. I don't think that Miami is that much worse than Ohio State. I mean, I think Ohio State's a better team, but I think that Ohio State should win this game. It's theirs to lose. But by no means is this game over from the start. It really is. Miami is a good team. So
I think if, especially one, I'll add this really quick. If Miami can go out there and make a statement early,
yeah.
I wouldn't not be surprised to see something happen. I think I think they're even. I mean, obviously, I think Ohio State's a little better, but for the most part, I think they're pretty evenly matched.
I agree. I think they got the talent to hang around. So,
Yeah, exactly.
next game, which actually is in Miami, Florida, Oregon versus Texas Tech. Both these teams taking a bit of a haul across the country to come play this game. This one is at noon on Thursday. Oregon is a 2.5 point favorite, and the over/under is set at 51.5. Um, this game, I feel like I know I kind of told you this already. This game is like the one game that I'm kind of the most confident in picking.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I don't necessarily know why. Even though this is ironically the closest spread, and this is the one I have the biggest or greatest feel for. But I think Oregon's a better team. I think they're better coached. I think they have the better quarterback. And when you put all those things together, you should win that game. However, I would love to be proven wrong, honestly, because I like Texas Tech. I like their coach. I have a lot of respect for their program, what they've done this year. So they can definitely hang around because they definitely have the talent as well, especially defensively.
Hmm.
Um, to me, though, it kind of feels like Texas Tech is kind of going to get stunned offensively a little bit. Like they haven't faced a defense kind of like Oregon's yet, and maybe you could argue BYU's is good, but you haven't really played a team as talented as Oregon at all facets of the game. So to me, this is kind of just going to be kind of a shock effect. I feel like is what's going to happen. I think Dan Lanning's a great coach. I think he'll have them ready to go. But yeah,
Yeah. Fun fact, I will be at this game. I am going.
really,
Yes, I am going.
you didn't even tell me that. Wow.
Because I just found this out a few hours ago. I will be at this game.
So who are
So,
you rooting for?
um,
What gear will you be wearing?
red is my favorite color, but I'm not picking them, so I don't really know.
Oh no.
I don't know what to do here.
Well, Dan Lanning's
Um,
a Georgia guy, so
yeah, I do like Dan Lanning. I do like Dan Lanning a lot. Maybe I got something green in the closet. But anyway, um, I think this is like you said, this is probably the one I feel most comfortable on, which kind of scares me that we both feel that way.
yeah, I know.
But um, I just to piggyback, I think that the talent is a little bit farther of a gap in this one. I think that this matchup really favors Oregon people will say, "Oh, the Oregon defense kind of JMU walked the ball down the field late in that game." I'm like, okay, you're right technically, but I'm not worried about that
Yeah.
on Oregon. What I am potentially worried about, so one of these are going to have to give. Oregon's red zone defense is not great, and Texas Tech red zone offense is also not great. I think for Texas Tech, this is my key for them. If you want to win this game, you got to get six. You got to come away with six in the red zone, right? You need, if neither of you are great, the offense needs to succeed there, especially Texas Tech going against the most talented team they've played all year in Oregon. So if you're Texas Tech, you got to come away with six. And then for Oregon, keys to the game, I think just stay who you are, right? Dante Moore's been balling all year. This team is pretty healthy. I don't think Evan Store's playing. I could be wrong, but I am not. I don't believe.
I'm not
So,
sure either.
um, but anyway, just Oregon, stick to who you are. The end of the season, you looked great. I think you looked great in that JMU game, and I think the score doesn't really show how bad you beat them. So I think for Oregon, just go out there and play your ball.
Definitely. I have a question. Who are you going to this game with?
Oh, I'm going with my dad. My brother's going. Um, Chase Sapo's going. Shout out to Chase. Hopefully he watches
Yes.
the videos. So
Well,
yeah.
that'll be great. That send me some pictures. I'll send you some
Yeah.
from the Rose Bowl, which will be the next game we talk about here. But keys to the game. Dante Moore. It has to be as elite as people claim he is. Because I expect or I don't expect Oregon to run the ball in these huge chunk plays like they have kind of later in the season. Texas Tech is the best run defense in the country, and I expect that to kind of continue here. If it doesn't, this will be the worst game of the weekend because Oregon will blow them out. Um, However, I think that with that being said, Dante Moore, he needs to be great. The receivers are getting healthy; they're getting there. You have more targets. I think that that is going to be another kind of mismatch, kind of like the Miami Texas Tech game, utilizing the receivers against Texas Tech secondary. So that to me is the biggest key, and then also kind of getting after Baron Morton. I'm not really high on him. I'll be honest, guys. I'm not. I've just I think if you get some pressure on him, he's prone to make a mistake. He's prone to take some bad sacks. I know we've talked about that on the show. If they do that, I think it'll be game over if you do any of those kind of things that I just mentioned. But for Texas Tech, I'm this is a 2.5 point game. We're talking about like it's a 20.5 point game.
Right.
But no, so this could easily be a win for Texas Tech. Now, here's what I think has to happen. The run, like I just said, the run defense needs to be elite. It needs to stay elite. You can't allow them to just have success all over the field. Um, you got to be able to create turnovers. I feel like in this game, this is one of those games where I think Dante Moore will turn the ball over if you get pressure on him, and I expect they kind of will be able to. David Bailey should be able to get in there. I hope so. But creating turnovers just tilts the game, and it is kind of a randomized stat, but um, I I just think that that's kind of going to be a need for them to win this game. They're going to need to win the turnover margin. I think the front seven will be the difference in this game for Texas Tech if they can continue to be as great as they've been all season. They obviously have a shot. I just don't know if they will be as great as they've been all season, given the talent difference in who they've been playing. Um, so yeah, I think just it's a defensively kind of keyed game for me for Texas Tech. Offensively, I think like I'm not expecting a whole lot out of them. But who knows? Maybe I get proven wrong. But as we've kind of both been hitting at, my prediction and best bet is Oregon to win and cover.
Yeah, I like Oregon in this one 31-24. So close, but they
Yeah,
cover.
hopefully it's a good game for you.
Thank you.
Last time you were at the Orange Bowl wasn't a good game, but it was a good game for you. It
It was
just
a great
wasn't
game for me. Yeah.
okay. Next game is a game that I will be at. Alabama versus Indiana, the Rose Bowl game in Pasadena, California. Indiana is a 7 point favorite, and the over-under is set at 47.5. I kind of wish I was going to the Orange Bowl instead because this game is going to be played underwater. I am bringing a poncho, a rain jacket. I'm bringing everything. It's gonna get nasty. So not really looking forward to that part. But um, I think the rain is something that needs to be addressed because who does that favor in this matchup? I think the knee jerk reaction for everybody in the country would probably be like, well, it favors Indiana because Alabama can run the ball. Well, let's just slow this down for a second because I think that when you actually look at Alabama later in the season and their run defense, I think that they've been a lot better at stopping the run later in the season. And I think that Indiana won't necessarily get as many effective run plays, especially in the rain. I saw someone talk about earlier on Twitter about how the rain creates more variance or whatever, and it's more of a 50-50 game, and that helps Alabama. I don't, I guess, sure. But my other thing is the defense is getting healthy again. This is probably the healthiest Alabama's been all season. So that's something to say. LT Overton's back and good to go for this game, which is huge. Um, Something about Alabama, though, in every single game that I've watched is that they play disgustingly awful in the rain. Um, I
How
think
much rain are we talking? Like enough rain to change a game plan?
we're talking 100% chance as what they have it right now.
Okay, but I mean, they're playing.
I don't know exactly what the amount the inches of rain are, but it's like 100%
All right,
chance throughout the
I'll
morning, and
work
then
on this while you're going right now.
all right, go ahead. I mean, I was almost done, but I think the only time, my last point is that the only time I've ever seen Alabama play good in the rain was 2015 at Georgia. So it's been 10 years. So we'll see what happens there. You can go, and I'll actually look at this too. Hold on.
Okay, yeah, I can find it. Um, I was watching or I was listening to Brooks Austin, shout out to Film Guy Network today, and he said something that I completely agreed with. This Alabama defense is the most underrated group in the country. I think their defense, especially their secondary and these corners, are just playing excellent. I think they have given their team a chance, right? You look at the Georgia game, they gave them a chance. Georgia didn't throw the ball to victory. That didn't happen. Georgia just executed on good field position and a block punt and um the fourth down missed throw by Simpson. So I think this defense is playing great. I think against Oklahoma, yeah, you started off bad, but look how it ended, right? There was maybe some nerves in that first quarter. The atmosphere was crazy. The atmosphere in this one's still going to be crazy, but it's not going to be in Norman, Oklahoma. So I think this defense for Alabama is the big key. I think if they continue to play like they've been playing, like you said, they're getting healthier. I think they have a legitimate shot in this game. I think this defense is going to keep them in it. Um, and then for IU, I think you got to go. You got to go early. You have to. You don't. I know what Bama just said there, or what happened last week for Bama down 17-0, but you gotta create some sort of momentum early. I think if you're down 17-0 in this game, there's no way you come back. So I don't think you can do what Bama just did last week. So for IU, your defense is good. Your defense is very creative to say the least. I think they will get to Simpson on some disguises and I think they will limit the run. I think they're defensive guys. They have long arms. They're not necessarily the biggest, but they're athletic. So I think that defense can create havoc. And I do think this game will actually be very close. I know I told you that yesterday. So I think this is probably my favorite game just in terms of a matchup this weekend.
Yeah. Here, I'll read this to you right now. This is for New Year's Day. This is the description. It's not really accurate with what they're predicting, but it says cool, heavy rain and a thunderstorm in the morning, followed by a few showers in the afternoon. Watch for flooding. Wear rain gear for the parade and football game. This is on AccuWeather, but it says here there's only about they expect about 0.66 inches of precipitation.
Oh,
But that can't be right because they just said watch for flooding. So I don't know. It says here hours of rain though. They're expected to be 5.
well, we'll see.
We'll
We'll
see. Yeah, I'll I'll send you a nice photo when I'm drenched sitting there. And Alabama probably losing by 15 by that point. So, anyways, keys to the game. For Alabama, stopping the run, and getting pressure on Mendoza. I think the main problem with in the OU game early was, we play a lot of zone, and I talked about this again last week, but we play a lot of zone, and if you don't get pressure on the quarterback, it just allows the quarterback to sit there and pick apart the zone. And I think Latier did it great, and we're playing the Heisman winner this week, so he's going to do it just as well, if not better. So you have to get pressure on him. We got to stop the run, especially if it's rainy and these teams are going to be trying to run the ball. Um, I also kind of need to see the O line play the best they played all year, especially if it's going to be raining, you're going to need to have some sort of push, move the ball, protect Simpson. Um, the one thing I will say is, though, Indiana has a key injury with Stephen Daly out. He got hurt after the Big Ten title game, which is pretty crazy, kind of sad. But can the O line just play the best that they've played all year? I don't know. We'll see if they should be healthy. We'll see if they're ready to go. Keys to the game for Indiana. Same thing, kind of for Indiana. I think it's just who is the most physical team in this game. The offensive line needs to be as great as they've been all year. The offensive line for Indiana has been great. They have to protect Mendoza, give him time to pick apart the zone. Also, they need to run the ball well in a game like this. It's going to be nasty. So, if they can establish a run game, I think that gives them a great chance to win the game. Also, Indiana, you're the favorites in this game for a reason. Like, don't go into the game and kind of play timid. Go out there and play like it. I know Kurt Cignetti's a great coach. He was talking about today about how they're not worried about the Alabama mystique, whatever that means. But I still have it on here because the coach can say whatever he wants, but the players are the ones that are playing. So you can't be intimidated by the script A. It's not the same. Like you just have to go out there and play, not focus on the opponent, anything like that. So
What happened to Oregon last year? Perfect season. Go into this Rose Bowl and get destroyed. I think this Alabama team is playing with house money, man. I think I think this one could go some ways.
give us your prediction and best pick.
Since I picked Indiana, I'm gonna keep Indiana, but um would not literally not shock me at all in this game if Alabama wins. But I'm going to roll with the Hoosiers. Score, I didn't write this one down. This is gonna be close. I'm gonna go I'm gonna go 28-26.
All
How do
right.
you even get 26? I don't all right, whatever, go
I
ahead.
don't know. We'll see. My prediction best bet. I picked it. This was the matchup that I predicted, and then I picked Alabama to win this matchup. And you know what? I'm just gonna stick with it. Alabama's gonna to win and cover. I hope that happens. That would be a great way to start my year. Great trip for me to go out to Pasadena, California. Last time I was there, we lost, so maybe I can redeem myself. If not, if we lose again, I'm never going to Rose Bowl ever again. So, just gonna put that out there now. So, yes, that's it for that game. I just got the 10 minutes thing. I don't know if we'll talk about this next game for 10 minutes, but
I think
if
we
we
can
do,
get it
yeah,
done.
yeah. If we do, we'll just whatever. All right. Ole Miss versus Georgia in the All-State Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. This game is in New Orleans, Louisiana. This is Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Georgia is -6.5, and the over/under is set at 55.5. I'll let you go with your thoughts first.
Yeah, I'll start off. I think uh the Georgia Twitter is kind of scaring me a little bit with how confident they are. I am not
Oh,
as confident as everybody else seems to be, as I am confident, don't get me wrong, but this whole Miss team is still scary, man. They still have all the pieces. I get they don't have their head coach, but everybody's still there. Lacey's playing this game. He says he's feeling great. Trinidad looked good against Tulane. I know, but um, this team scares me. But for Georgia, I think Colby Young's back. He was your leading receiver before he got hurt, which is him and Zachariah are going to be huge. Noah Thomas, getting these guys back, and Ethan Barbour is back. He he played a lot in those first two games, and then he hasn't been back since, so I'm kind of interested to see. I don't know if he'll play a lot, but I think he might play a little bit. So I'm kind of interested to see because freshman tight end, I know they like his skill set. Um, for Georgia, there's a big loss. Gabe Harris is not playing. That's a tough one, man. He's played a ton this season. He's gotten so much better throughout the season. He he's played confident football. I think that is a very tough loss. Believe Joseph Jonah Ajonye, sorry for pronouncing that wrong. He's going to fill in. Um, it's tough. It's tough. Gonna have to fill in. This is gonna be the biggest game of his life, and hopefully he goes to make the most of it for Georgia. But for Georgia, right? I think you have all the pieces. You've gotten so much better, especially defensively, since that first game. All those mistakes that you made, particularly in that first half against Ole Miss in the first meeting, you cleaned up a lot of those, right? You've cleaned up the missed tackles. You've cleaned up the missed coverages, knock on wood. So I think the defense has improved a ton throughout the back end of the season. So that's where I'm going with the keys to the game for Georgia is defensively. Just trust yourself, trust what you've done at the end of the year. I think the offense has been playing, they didn't play great at the end of the year, but it's part of the defense. The defense has given them such good field position and such good opportunities to keep them in game. So for Georgia, I think just trust your defense, what you've done lately, and trust the adjustments you've made since that first game.
Yeah, I agree. We get a rematch here. This is the only rematch of the quarterfinals. Tough to beat a team twice in the same season. But my question is this really the same team without Kiffin? Is this the same Ole Miss team? I mean, they look like it against Tulane, but again, it's Tulane.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know if that's a great example or a good sample. And not it's not a good sample size, and I don't know if it's a great sample game, but still a lot of questions about Ole Miss from me and how good the offense will be without Kiffin. So this is kind of an interesting game. I'm excited to see this. Uh, the big question for the game for me, as far as Georgia, and I'm not really concerned, but this is my only question for Georgia is like, can you get pressure on the quarterback without having to send the blitz? If you can be as dominant, kind of like they were in the Alabama game, in the SEC championship game, just constantly getting pressure, and even without the blitz, that just it shuts everything down. And I think if that's the case, if that happens again, I could see this game kind of going how the SEC championship went, kind of shutting down the Ole Miss offense. My other question for Ole Miss is how healthy is Lacey for this game? Because it does make a difference. I know he's definitely going to play, but there's a difference between him being like 90% and him being like 60%. Um, so I don't know. That's something to watch. I think for Ole Miss, they need to pray for an exact replica of the game from earlier in the season
hmm
and just flip the outcome somehow and execute late.
I
Because I
don't think
don't
it's
think
gonna happen.
what.
I don't think that type of game is gonna happen again.
Yeah, I don't. I know. That's why I said they need to pray for him. But my keys to the game for Ole Miss is Chambliss needs to play turnover-free football. You can't turn the ball over in this game because if that happens, it starts to become a landslide, and then you're working from behind, and then it gets ugly. And I don't know if they're gonna have the offense without Kiffin to be able to manufacture points, especially if you're down in the game. I think he needs to use his legs some too. I think he can use that and be a threat. Um, I think the other thing is they need to exploit the Georgia secondary in this game. I think that is their best advantage point here is just trying to get their receivers open, kind of like they did in the beginning of the season. I know that Georgia's obviously massively improved since then defensively, but uh, just kind of trying to work your way back to the success that you had earlier in the season. Get those guys open and be timely. Um, for Georgia, I kind of already said it. I get after Chambliss and stay disciplined. I have the stay disciplined in the rushing lanes. Don't let him run all over you. Because when he becomes a threat, and then you got Lacey, and then you got the receivers, it becomes a lot. It becomes a lot quick, especially with Ole Miss. So offensively, I think impose your will, kind of tilt the game in the time of possession. I think like that's going to be key for them. Can you get the longer drives, kind of keep your defense rested? ready to go against the Ole Miss offense. Just manufacturing long drives, gunner. Continue to be smart, playing great football. If that happens, I think Georgia should come out of New Orleans with a win this year, or next year, I should say. Um, so for me, I'll get my prediction and best bet. I have Georgia to win, and I have them covering as well. It's 6.5. But I don't think it's going to be a blowout necessarily. But I have them covering 6.5.
I'll give the score prediction real quick, and I'm gonna add something. I also took Georgia to win and cover. I took Georgia 34-24. But um, you give Kirby Smart, as soon as this bracket was made, you've given him 3 weeks to prepare for um,
Yeah.
Ole Miss, right? Kurt Signetti did not get that opportunity. He didn't know he was playing. Obviously, you can game plan for both, but it's a little different. Kirby Smart has had this much time to game plan for just Ole Miss, go through the pass game, do all that stuff. You look at you look at this whole situation in Ole Miss, right? The what's his name? Pete Golding was trying to just keep his coaches on the staff. Like so much
Yeah.
has gone on
Mhm.
in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And Georgia has just kept their head on the plane. Obviously, they've had no distractions. And I think with this time and with what's going on in Oxford right now, which is obviously out of their control, I think this heavily favors Georgia. There's no coach I'd rather have prepare for a team for 3 weeks than Kirby Smart. I think he's the best, and I think Georgia will come out with a very good game plan like they always do.
I agree. We'll end this recording and then we got a couple things just to briefly
All right.
go. Yeah, okay. Record. Okay. All right. A couple news things to talk about, and then we're gonna bounce up out of here. Edgar's tired, so we're we gotta get to bed here soon. I have to be up in 8 hours exactly. Or actually, no, I have to be in the car in 8 hours exactly. So quickly gotta go through some things. Last time we talked, we had not had a coach at Michigan yet. Today we do. Kyle Whittingham is the coach at Michigan now. Was the former Utah coach, if anyone was unaware. Um, I think it's a good hire. I think that someone made a comment the other day about it, and I thought it was actually pretty good. It was from somebody that I didn't actually think makes good takes, and they've surprisingly had one good one. But they said that this kind of felt like a bridge hire to the next guy because I don't. Kyle Whittingham is older, and I don't really expect him to be here for this past his 5 years that's on his contract. If he makes it to 5 years, I think he will, but we'll see. I don't see him coaching into his late 70s, 80s. So I think this is kind of a bridge hire to the next guy. And I think that's fine because at this point in the cycle, you weren't going to get anyone great. I thought towards the end of this, before this even came out, I thought that they might actually just go with Biff Poggi for the season, which I mean wouldn't even be you know the end of the world to be honest. But
Yeah.
I thought that that was kind of where they were going to go and just wait for the next cycle. But they got this, which is fine. But again, kind of just feels like a bridge hire, and they're waiting on the main guy, and I guess they'll go from there. But we'll see. I think he'll do pretty well there. He's got all the resources at Michigan. I mean, Michigan has a ton of money, ton of resources. But yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I like the hire. I think kind of got lucky, kind of like Penn State did. So good for them. Good for them. I think it's definitely an upgrade.
Yep. And then last thing that I had, which was kind of going to be expected. I guess I could add another name to this. Cam Coleman entered the portal as well as
And
another
Duece
Auburn
Knight.
player. Yep, Deuce Knight. That's what I was going to say. I think the Deuce Knight thing maybe because speculation that Byron Brown's going to go there, which I wouldn't be surprised at all. But the Cam Coleman thing, I wouldn't say I'm surprised by it, but it is kind of big because this guy, he's incredible. I think there's been like three names that have kind of emerged as kind of early favorites, been kind of Alabama, A&M, and Miami. Um, so we'll see. Keep an eye on that. As an Alabama fan, I will keep an eye on that. But um, Auburn, I guess I was a little surprised. I know Auburn fans are freaking out and pissed off because they want Golish out already before the game's even started. Because he's losing the roster. But I mean, I think just the way that it kind of ended the season with Cam Coleman, it kind of just felt like he was already on his way out, and Auburn's just hasn't done a great job with him, I guess, this season. So it was, and last season, so kind of expected, but I guess we'll see where he goes.
Yeah, not surprised at all about this portal entry. I think he's immediately, obviously, the top receiver in the portal and probably the top player.
Yeah,
He is unbelievable, like you said. I think he's one of the best wide receivers in college football. I think it'll be very interesting to see where he goes. That would be pretty insane if he went to Bama, coming
yeah,
from Auburn. That would
yeah.
be
Like
crazy.
Aiden Holloway,
Yeah.
if you got that.
But my Georgia fandom believes he's going to go to Georgia because
Yeah,
Kirby
really.
Smart, after every Auburn game, would always talk to Cam Coleman. So, uh, I'm
Yeah,
hoping.
he may go to Auburn. I saw today there was two SEC schools that emerged just like the top. It was Bama and A&M, and then I saw today that um, there's speculation of Miami as well. So I don't know. And Georgia's probably still in the picture as well. Georgia's always in the picture. So
Yeah, we'll see. I think it's going to be what school offers him the most money. So
yeah, yeah, definitely.
I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
really think if it comes down to that, Georgia will win. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, I don't know. The Bama and Georgia both aren't huge with spending a ton of money in the
Right.
portal and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll see. Um, that's all. I mean, we had other like little stuff, but it's too late, guys. We are no one's about to fall asleep in his chair right now, so we gotta we gotta get back to bed. We gotta get up early tomorrow. I do. And then we got long days on New Year's. We both got to attend some games. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll take some footage, upload to the pod from
Yeah, well, that's some
next show.
Be Real, if you even know what that is, Luke.
Be real, the app.
No, I believe that's what it's called. I took sports broadcasting for 2 semesters. Be Real, like when you show footage when like you're talking about a game and then you like show footage during it. You
Oh,
show clips.
oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we can do that. We'll
Good
do
job,
that
bro.
exactly. And hopefully I can get a video and it's not just like pouring down rain. My phone gets damaged. So
Yeah, I think my weather will be a little bit better.
I think it will too. All right. Well, that's it. That's all you got from us this week. A little bit of a shorter episode, but
To be expected.
it's okay. We
Yeah.
uh we've been busy, guys.
Sorry.
Next week we'll be here, same place, same not the same time, hopefully.
Yeah.
but yeah, peace, everybody.
Later.